Section 1, Company Policies and Procedure. I work for the Southwest Carpenters Training Fund, where policies and procedures are affirmed. Students are not allowed to miss the first day of class. Student cannot miss more than 1 day per class. Any absence must be made up on the first day of the following week. Student must wear safe and appropriate clothing, which include long pants and shirts with sleeves. Smoking is not allowed on the building. Drinking alcohol and or using drugs on the premise is strictly forbidden. Violation of this rule is ground for immediate expulsion. No one is permitted to leave the premise during class hours. All safety rules and requirements will be followed when operating power and hand tools. Some key policies are followed: harassment policy, PPE policy, cell phone policy, and code of conduct policy. Section 2. What are safety issues associated with working with tools? Some of these safety issues associated with working with tools is physical, chemical, and biological injury. We have procedures in place to reduce the likelihood of injury. PPE equipment is mandatory when working on the floor. It is mandatory that all tools are kept in good condition with regular maintenance. It is the responsibility of the instructor to ensure that the right tools are being used for the right job, being observant and aware of surrounding, discuss hazard and preventions of injuries during my first session of each course. Section 3. How do you communicate with your students and how do students communicate with you? How do you establish respect in your classroom? What is allowed and what is not allowed? Establishing power and respect is crucial, especially when teaching adults. I have found that if established respect, boundary, and accountabilities, every flows, I feel students seek empowerment. I am not an instructor who needs to micromanage my classroom or dictate how my students act. I, I promote individualism and accountability. A clear visions, empower and empowerment. Everyone is entitled to their opinion and opinions must be respected when my power is tested. I have a few fine disciplinary action working with adults and cell phone usage is huge. I let be knowing that no cell phone should be used during class time unless it is an emergency. If a student refuses to obey by these single rules, they will be asked to leave for the remainder of the class period. If the student does not respect another student opinion or perspective, he or she will also be asked to leave my classroom. I teach construction, so one day loss is huge, and they student will need to return the following week to complete assigned hours and won't be allowed to on the job site into the completions of the course, ensuring that my students know this information upfront has promote a positive dynamic in my classroom. Section 4. Talk about procedures that you have for uh, routing tasks. How do you clean tools? How do you ensure safety? What are some procedures you allow in your classroom? Some policies I follow in my classroom is safety and OSHA standard. By training my classroom at OSHA regulation, it limits the likelihood of injury. I also have uh, zero tolerance, zero tolerance rules for cell phones use. If student does not obey by my classroom rules, they will be dismissed and unable to return to work. And today, make up hours missed is keep my classroom in order and allow a distraction free zone for students to succeed. Thank you.